Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Bungle on the Bungle News Network, and today we are going over Enlisted, the World War II free-to-play first-person shooter. Going over the weekly news of the 5th of September 2021 to the 12th of September 2021. Just like any other of our news coverage, we're going to be talking about drama. Drama for this week, we got some pay to play, pay to have money to go and get access to the CBT closed beta test of the Battle of Tunisia campaign, as I like to call it. Moving on, we got some content. We're going to talk about Tunisia closed beta test CBT phase 1. What does that mean? What's Bungle's take on Tunisia? We're going to go right into that. And lastly, our mystery topic, we're going to talk about a new class that's added into Enlisted called the Rider class. We're going to go dive into it right here, right now. Starting to kick off with the drama. So, just like any closed beta test or CBT for Enlisted, you usually have to get a pre-order pack, usually paying kind of in the ballpark of $50 United States dollars, sometimes to $60 to get access into the closed beta test. Now, this has always kind of been a controversial issue, and kind of the reasoning why is, why do I have to pay to go and get into a closed beta test access to test out stuff when in reality it should be free, right? You got some players playing this game that's been very loyal since the start, and it's kind of pricing people out from the game. So it's kind of personally, my stance on that is that it should have been kind of like Berlin Phase 2 with closed beta tests, where there was an option to pay to get access to getting the campaign levels, the campaign tech tree, where you can go and have your progression carry over. Understandable that the players that are free to play, yes, they can play the default squads they get as if they were just starting the campaign, but there would be no progression retained because they did not go and buy the premium pass or the premium squad, which allows you to kind of carry that progression over. Now, is it personally, either way is not a good option, but of the lesser evils, I rather prefer Enlisted to have a tech tree, campaign tree already there, and it's unlocked if you went and purchased the closed beta test access, so that way your progression can carry over. And if you're a free-to-play player, you can still play Battle of Tunisia, but you're going to be locked with restricted classes that you would get, and there will be no progression until it goes open beta test. That's probably the best way of doing it, but unfortunately, that's not where we're at. So that's unfortunate. Like I said, let me know your comments down below. What do you think? Do you think this is pricing people out? Do you think this is kind of greedy? Do you prefer kind of the lesser of two evils approach? Let me know down below. Now, moving on. Going over to content, so the Battle of Tunisia, closed beta test phase 1. If you're unfamiliar with the phases or how they work, pretty much this is how it's going to go, and this is just as how Battle of Berlin was. Phase 1, if you went and bought the pre-order pack for the motorcycle squad and everything, costs $50. Go pick that up. You basically get access to the Battle of Tunisia campaign. Now you're going to have preset squads, basically as if you went and unlocked them from the campaign level tech tree. And these squads aren't, let's say, maxed out with gear, ready to go into combat. They're basically like if you're progressing through a campaign level and you just unlocked the squad, well, this is how the squad would look like. It's not like, oh, these are having that, 5-star weapons, 5-star perks, 5-star, no, like this is literally as if you went and unlocked the campaign level. Here are the soldier you would get. So this is kind of looking at the Battle of Berlin closed beta test with phase 1 and phase 2. It makes me take a step back. Maybe it's kind of what you would unlock when they added campaign levels. This is kind of what you're looking forward to, but I definitely think they're probably going to add some more content, hopefully, with that. But basically, phase 1, you're just playing, you're testing the squads, there's no progression, there's no campaign levels yet. You're basically going to go and unlock nothing, and you're just playing the game just to play test, and hey, there's a bug here with this, or maybe this weapon isn't performing. And especially, like I said, I got my own 2 cents on that, and we'll dive right into that as well. So my take on it right now, the Battle of Tunisia campaign, is that of all the campaigns I've played, this is probably going to either be my number 1 or number 2, followed by Invasion of Normandy. And the reason why is this is literally the campaign that does everything that Battle of Berlin does, but better. Berlin does do close quarters combat, but the problem with it is that with the buildings, the rubble, the tanks and wreckage everywhere, just makes it very hard to play tanks. And if you're trying to play with aircraft or whatever, if your enemy's in a building and there's an objective in a building, well, good luck trying to get bombs in there. Whereas in the Battle of Tunisia, what we're seeing right now with the map design and with the vehicle implementation, such as the Hurricane and the, I think, HS-129, the Italian attacker, is that you're seeing mechanics where it's advocating all types of gameplay. It's comfortable, you're not really restricted in using a tank. They kind of set up barricades or trenches so your tank will have to maneuver around. So it's very interesting how that's set up, where it's kind of, not restricting, but also making you think when you're playing a tank instead of like Normandy just sitting on a beach in a jumbo and launching HE shells into the German spawn. So definitely really like the approach they're taking. I feel like the maps are really well polished. I feel the gameplay, gunplay of the British weapons and the Italian weapons are actually very fun to use. They play very well, and it's an interesting mix of early World War II weapons kind of with late war, and that's going to be seen with the Thompson being included, and also seeing some of the weapons that the Germans get. And especially too, it's kind of funny, the M1 flamethrower I thought was, total garbage in Normandy, because Normandy is, wide spread out maps, but the way Battle of Tunisia is set up is that there is, it's just really, I would say, I have to give the developers a lot of credit. It's set up in such a way that you can do close quarters despite it kind of being a larger map, and it's just very interesting how they managed to get that done, where you could use a flamethrower to defend an objective, even the basic M1 flamethrower, which only has like, I think 18 meter radius or something, or jet length, and you'll do great with it. And like I said, it's just a very good, very interesting, very fun campaign. I really like them, the design, the gameplay, and I definitely see this being a very, very good addition to Enlisted. Another thing to note too, like I said, I was looking at when I log in, it says like, oh, so many days left to purchase the pack. So my feeling is I feel that they might go into open, phase 2, which basically they unlock the campaign levels. And if you went and bought a pack, then you basically can start progressing. If you didn't buy a pack, you can try it out, but you can get like the starter classes. So, but definitely really am impressed with this. This is very, like, I have to say hats off to them, because compared to other games like Battlefield 5, which has North Africa and stuff like that, like just spread out maps and, just really kind of boring. Whereas this is like very engaging. And playing all the 3 campaigns, I feel like Tunisia takes everything from each campaign that needs improvement and actually makes it like just really, really polished. Like normally, like I said, normally you get the space, you get the maps and everything like that. And, Berlin, you got close quarters, and Moscow's kind of that fine in between. But, Tunisia just takes everything and just kind of polishes it. And like I said, it's very good, very great job. And another thing too is that you got the Germans. You don't have the Germans in this one, actually. You actually have the Italians and you have the British going at it. So you have a new faction, which is funny because on the Enlisted website, it actually has, for the Battle of Tunisia campaign, you actually had the British going versus the Germans. So developers are listening to feedback. They're definitely taking things back and considering it. Definitely my impressions right now with the squads that are in it, with the weapons that they have, the Enfield and everything like that. It's just great having that variety. I feel with the aircraft aren't that strong per se, especially with the 40 millimeter guns on the Hurricane. I feel like the Hurricane's convergence is just not good. Definitely very situational based. So maybe they're trying to pull back on the power of aircraft too, just because of the recent feedback from the community of bombs just wiping out teams and everything like that. But very interesting. I really like what they're doing with this, and I'm looking forward to going to phase 2. Now, moving on. Last, our mystery topic this week, we're going to be talking about the Rider class. Now, the Rider class is basically going to be the 2 machine gun motorcycle classes that you get and Enlisted for pre-ordering the Battle of Tunisia closed beta test pack. Now, with this, it's pretty how it plays, and it's kind of a poll right now, and you can go ahead and vote. Based on watching my gameplay and seeing how it is, if should this be an infantry class or a vehicle class, because right now it's counted as a vehicle class, so as a result it already takes up a vehicle slot. So if you're a premium player or a regular player and you're trying to add more tanks and stuff into your lineup, it's going to be affected by having that motorcycle class, the Rider class. So what the Rider class does, and what it does really well, is the motorcycle gets you around on the battlefield very quickly. Now you can sit down in the position and use the machine gun on top of it, But keep in mind, your soldiers are going to be exposed to small arms fire, so they're not protected. You can easily get taken out or swarmed by enemies, sneaking around you or just right next to you. So it's very situational based with using the machine gun on the motorcycle. I would only recommend using it on getting on a good vantage point away from the enemy, and you can actually have good view, good line of fire down on your enemy. But if you're in close quarters and everything like that, I would dismount off that machine gun very quickly. I would dismount off that motorcycle, and you basically have a great lineup, especially with the Allied bundle for for Britain, with having the Thompson, which is basically a top tier weapon for the invasion of Normandy camp. Also, the Italians get the MP40 as well, but both are really good weapons. Both are great. Now, the squad's limited to 3 soldiers too, so I don't know if this is a rider class thing or they're gonna go and change it up. I probably foresee this rider class also being like your troop transport class, so like the Bren carrier or the American half-track or even the German half-track. And I think, if they go in that direction, that would definitely be interesting if they're gonna keep that as infantry versus a vehicle class. I would lean towards a vehicle. They're gonna add like the German half-track and the American half-track and stuff like that. But definitely kind of cool to have that mechanic in, especially if you basically have mechanized infantry that you can take out on the battlefield, move them to an objective or whatever, get them out. And I think that's just really cool if that's the direction you're gonna try to go. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you reached this point in the video, thanks for stopping by. I really do appreciate you coming by the Bungle News Network. Your comments, your likes, mashing that dislike button helps me with the YouTube algorithm, so please continue to do that. I really do appreciate you all stopping by, supporting my channel. It means a lot to me. I'll be uploading more and more kind of gameplay that I'm getting from the Battle of Tunisia campaign. I would not recommend going and purchasing this yet unless you're a really die-hard fan for Enlisted, just because right now there's no progression being kept or anything like that. This is more just from a tester, content creator perspective. I looked into it just because I make content for Enlisted, so I wanted to check it out. But if you're a really die-hard fan, then consider picking it up. But if you're a regular viewer, you just like to play, and you're kind of in the free-to-play option, I would just hold off until Phase 2 comes about, which will basically unlock it for you. Other than that, thanks for stopping by. I hope you all have a great day. Take care.